Hello, and welcome to this third Easter reflection video looking at Good Friday. I'm Andrew, the leader of the Salvation Army in Sunbury. Why do we call this day good? Some 2,000 years ago, a man was arrested and imprisoned overnight, and his closest friends abandoned him. The next day, he was tried and found innocent under Roman law, but the religious rulers of his own society wanted him to die so much they got the crowd to agree to have a riotous murderer released instead. He was mocked, stripped of his clothes, beaten and flogged, called scourging, using a whip with sharp ends. The number of lashes varied, sometimes enough to be fatal of themselves. In this case, it was enough that this 30-year-old former chippy could hardly walk once they were finished. Why do we call this day good? The crowd weren't satisfied with all this and demanded his death, so he was sentenced to death by crucifixion. Now, crucifixion was a harsh death. I'll spare you all the gory details, but we really have nothing like it in today's modern world. Put simply, it involved being suspended by nails on a rough wooden cross until you bled out or suffocated, whichever happened first. It took hours, and the pain was so intense we had to create a word for it, excruciating, from excrucio, meaning out of the cross. Eventually, after 6 hours hanging on a cross, this innocent man died, abandoned. Why do we call this day good? Now, this all happened the day before their Sabbath day, a cultural day of rest when it was forbidden for Jews to do any work. So that his body wasn't just left there by the Romans, a man came to ask for his body, brought it down from the cross, and had it laid in an unused tomb nearby. Fearing his followers would steal the body, the tomb was officially sealed and a Roman guard was stationed before it. The soldiers risked death themselves if they failed to guard it well. That was the end of that Friday. For the rest of the story, you'll have to tune in to Sunday. But why do we call this day good? For about 2,000 years, this instrument of torture and death has been a symbol of the Christian faith. It features in almost every church, often decorated very ornately. People wear it around their necks or get it tattooed. It features in school logos and in worship songs. To a first century Roman, such use of a cross would seem absurd, even barbaric. Yet Christians sing about how wonderful it is, how much we appreciate that Jesus died on it, how much we cherish it. Why do we call this day good? Only one thing makes this day properly good. And it's not the cross itself, but what it represents. The death of Jesus for us, you and me. Why is it for us? Well, we humans are born with a knack for choosing to do the opposite of what is good and right and perfect. God can't just ignore all that, but He doesn't want us to bear the consequences of our wrongdoing forever either. He loves the world too much for that. So He gave Himself up instead as a substitute for those consequences. And He died a serious death to show just how seriously God takes wrongdoing. He did this so that God's perfect laws can still be upheld, but we can all be restored and free. On that cross, 2,000 years ago, Jesus redeemed the whole world, so rich and so free. All the hard work is done. All we have to do is accept it and welcome Him into our hearts. It doesn't get any better than that. That is why we call this day good.